Welcome to our summer series, week 6 data visualization Google Sheet. Okay. This week we will be I'm talking about the stack bar chart. Okay. This is going to be a very interesting graph. It's similar to what we've been doing, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago when we do the timeline project management. It's kind of like a task management, things to do, tasks to do. Remember that I get that idea from just sort of like an Excel file that I download from the web because I'm interested in I don't know, maybe a project management tools and techniques, right? So I just download that and I take a look at it and feel like this is great. This is what I'm looking for. And then we learn how to replicate the design, one feature at a time. We started out with the drop-down list, and then we basically just um, um, sort of like move on to the hardest part with the last one, which is like the timeline, the calendar, and then I realized that hey, that timeline feature is only available for the Google Workspace account, not Google personal account, which means that the Google Workspace account, which means that if you're part of organization, a company that subscribe, it's this monthly subscription you have to pay for it. So that's why we don't have a personal, we only have a personal account. So that's why we learn to do our own version of the timeline by learning how to do a little bit of coding, like conditional formatting, to get that 5 week calendar view. Remember that? We show you. This is uh, this is the stack bar chart. Okay, as I prepare for the data visualization series, and I come across, I learned about, several graph because Google Sheet has a lot of graph available, and I basically just want to discuss it about the one that stand out so far. I feel like I talking about geography map, tree map, and then I feel like, hey, maybe this is gonna be a great it's a very interesting graph to talk about. Remember this one, I don't know, I 29, right? Try to sort of kind of like play around with the start and end date. See that? I changed this one to, I don't know, maybe 9/28, right? And then this one, maybe you change it to maybe shorten it, all right? Okay, so basically what it does, what this graph does is exactly like what we've been doing, except that we learn how to kind of like do the conditional formatting, a little bit of coding over a period of, I don't know, maybe a couple months, 10 weeks or something, right? And then now I found out this graph, I feel like this is cool. You know, have I found out this graph earlier, then we probably would not have learn how to do the conditional formatting, the coding. But anyway, I learned a whole lot of stuff, right? So because of that, we now know how to do the conditional formatting. So that's for future reference. That's going to be for our own benefits. Let's say in the future, you want to customize certain things. You know exactly where to go and exactly what to do to customize. It's sort of like a further customization for your own personal preferences, for your own taste, so you know exactly where to go and how to do it. Okay, but um, but this is going to be very good. Except that it does not have the a calendar view. So, but you know what? You can easily just do a little programming with the knowledge that you had from that one. You basically just sort of like put a calendar in here. Okay. But anyway, this is going to be a graph that I'm talking about, the stack bar chart. Okay. Just like remember the on my personal blog, the book. I remember that on this article and this week that I post. This is the Excel file that I downloaded off the web because I'm interested in at that time the project management. Okay, I'm interested in any kind of like productivity tool, project management tool in order to help me manage some of the tasks that seems like I have not achieved, right? So we have bunch of right? We have this one, and then at that time we basically just take one feature at a time. We say we're gonna replicate this design, so we implement the drop-down list. This is called the drop-down list, okay? And then after that, you know, and then this is the one that we have, right? Now this one right here provided by the stock bar chart, exactly what we did, right? Which is core, okay? So what we learned so far, combined with the graph, is gonna make, even more complete. It's look just like this one, okay? So you just have to combine what we learned so far, learning how to do conditional formatting, a little code, right? A little bit of coding, and then you combine with the graph, what's already provided for us, you know? Then you'll be able to make you know, to look exactly like this one, or even, to your own personal taste. Okay. We have the start day, we have the end day. So let's discuss about that. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Okay. So we talk about this one here, right? Let's just sort of like start, right? Just started on a brand new sheet, right? We just kind of like work with a very simple data set, right? That's how that's the approach that we should be sort of like practicing, when you learn something new, especially something really big and complex, started out with something very simple, okay? And then if it works, then chances are, you scale it up, it's gonna work, okay? And if it doesn't work, then it's easier for you to know exactly what went wrong, how to fix that. It's a lot easier for you to narrow down and pinpoint exactly where the problem or the issues are when things are simple. But when things get complicated, you know, so it's better for us to know exactly, every little detail what's going on, in the simple picture. So let's say that we're going to repair, right? The most critical step of using the sort of like a built-in graph provided by Microsoft Excel or the Google Sheet is basically prepare the data set. Okay, so let's say that we have like task, right? We have a task name, right? A task. We have a start day, right? We have a start day, and then we have, what is this? The start of set day. Okay, and then I will be talking about this column will start of set day. Okay, and then we have a duration. Okay, let's just sort of like do task name. Let's say that you have sort of like your personal, you know, project. Whatever we want to do. Easy task, a simple task. That can turn it can be viewed and considered as a project. Okay, so and of course, we want to get it done. We want to see it completed, right? But the bigger the task, it seemed that we need to have a little more structure to help us, to guide us, for my personal experience, to guide us, so that, we have a higher chance of getting that task completed, okay, getting that project completed. If we have more tools, if we have more techniques, okay. Let's say that we want to create our personal website. That's going to be your idea, your project, that what you want to do. What you want to do, that's your task. What is your dream? That's your task, right? That's your project, right? because let's say like created a personal website so that we'll have plan, will design, it's actually have this different phases, different stages of the process, development, and then test it, right? Let's say that you want to start, I don't know, maybe August, right? And then this one gonna be August, I don't know, 5, right? This is gonna be August 9, and then this is gonna be August, I don't know, maybe 29, right? Testing, right? So you have duration, you have how many, the start of set day column is just the column that show you the difference between your start day and the start day of the very first task start day. So in the way, it's sort of like a project start day. Remember that when we did the task management template, the project management template, we have a project start day, and then based on the project start day, your week's going to start it. The week one going to start it, from based on the project start day, right? So the start offset day basically just like, what, it's kind of like, how many days between, you know the start date of this task, uh, uh compared to the project start date, the very first task start date. Okay, so let's say that this is going to be, so that's going to be equal. All right, the formula for this one going to be like this, and then you just minus itself, right? Because you know what, let's say that the start date of the very first task is the project start date, right? So that's going to be B2, and then you make sure that you do referencing, a login mechanism by placing a dollar sign in front of it, right? Let me see. Because you want to lock the column, and you want to lock down the row number as well. So that's why you place a dollar sign in front of the row, the column and the row. Okay. I think there's a quick way to do it. Is right. There's a quick way for you to actually do let's say B2, and then you want to do the absolute referencing by placing a dollar sign in front of the column and row. I think it's F4, I believe. It doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the shortcut keyboard for the. But anyway, okay. So you have that, and duration. Let's say that you see out of this one right here. Let's say a simple project consists of different phases, different stages, and each task is kind of like a dependency list, dependency list. Like the next task cannot be started until the previous one completed, right? So that's why you have this one, right? So you cannot start doing the designing unless the planning is done. You cannot get development stage started unless you probably get the design part done, right? So on and so forth. And then let's say that the duration, maybe make this one 5 days, right? And then make this one, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, for maybe 7 days. This one development, maybe 10, I don't know, 12 days. And then testing, maybe you probably have, I don't know, maybe 4 days, right? Right? Kind of like that, right? So the design won't start until 4 days later, between the design and the planet, right? And then of course, each task, they can actually complete after the next task started. Okay, I'm sorry, what I just said earlier. Sometimes this is not completely depends on the list. You can start it, and then the other task can begin. Why the previous start is still being complete. Okay, so whatever that I said earlier, is not completely entirely correct. Okay, based on our data set, based on the requirement of the data set that's expected by Google Sheet. Okay, so now once you get this one, you just have to highlight this and then just insert graph. And then you're going to choose the stack bar chart, okay, which is down here. See bar right here, right? And then which is, you know, this is gonna it's gonna be a graph that they generated for you initially, but we do some little customization in order to make it look like a timeline, task management. Okay, so we just go ahead and remove the start date, right? Now we have something like this one. And if you take a look at each bar, even though it's presented horizontally, you see that it has two parts, right? The blue part and the red part. The blue part stands for the first column, right? The start day, no, the start offset day, right? This is going to be the area that they show it. The first part is going to be the start offset day, how many days in between the project start day and the start date of that task. And then the second, which is the red area, is the duration, how long does it last? How long does it take to complete that phase? Okay. So now we basically just go ahead and customize the graph by clicking on this three button, right? Three bullets, vertical points, and then see. You go to customize, you go to series, and then this one right here, you go to start offset day, make this one red, right? And then you go to duration, which is the right here, and make this is blue, right? It's sort of like try to swap the order, the color of each of these things, sort of like the opposite. Okay, and now you only want to show the blue part, right? Because we only interested in looking at the time that the task begins and is actually run for how many days it takes in order to complete that task. Okay, so you gotta make this one opacity just sort of like make it transparent, invisible. Okay, so do that. Now you have something like that, right? And then you just have to further customize it. I don't know, maybe you probably put uh, set up maybe the start offset there you want a label. You put a label in here, just like how we did, just like how you see here, right? You have a label, right? Or even on this side right here, you have this, right? You have a little label, right? You have a label here, right? So we want to kind of like make it look a little bit like this one with our graph. Where's my graph? Ah, where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. So we're gonna do start day. This is gonna be a series. The start offset day. We already make it invisible by playing around with the opacity level. Opacity level, set that value equal to 0, which means that it's completely transparent. Okay. It's kind of like 100% transparency. You add label, put a task name, right? Now you have a task name there, right? And then the duration, maybe you just put a, I don't know, maybe duration. That's how many days, right? 5 days, 7 days, 12 days, 4 days, right? Now you know it's actually work, right? So in a way, this one right here is work. So you know now it's actually work for a very simple data set. For the simple project, it has only 4 tasks, right? It's 4 phases, 4 stages, okay? Like this one, this, and this, right? Now, so you know this is the minimal uh, data requirement. The data set needs to be look like this one. So you need to have a task, a start, the start offset, and the duration. Duration can be calculated, but if you take a look at this one right here, duration can be calculated using, it's calculating, taking the difference between the start and end date, right? So now, let's say that now you know it works, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy, right? So we know that this graph is good. So we're gonna copy the task name. We're gonna scale it up and to see whether or not, you know, like with the real project, this graph works. It will work. Okay. So just do that and then right. And then the start day. Oh, by the way, before you do that, let's kind of like calculate, and then you have to have the what is it? The end days here, right? Uh, end day, right? And then you basically just I don't know, maybe what is it? Duration A6, right? And then this is 7 days, so A5, 7 days is A12, right? And A9 plus duration is 12, so that's 21, A1, right? And then this is what? Duration is 4, so that's going to be, I don't, is that 93? 92, right? Okay. Now, the duration column is the one that you, earlier, we basically just put a number to test it out to make sure that it works, right? Now we know that it does take a number, right? So you're going to calculate it, the duration by taking the difference between the start and end date. So that's going to be here, and then you take the end day here, you minus the start day, right? That's 7. And then you just copy down the formula, right? So that's going to be right. Let's say that if you change the end day to make sure that the duration, the value in the duration column is correct. So if you change this one, you increase it by, I don't know, maybe probably like 5 more days. So A17, right? This one going to be 14, right? This number right here, we change to 14. 12, and maybe. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You change it to A19. It's going to be another 2 days, so that's 14. Okay, that's good. And then this one, let's say we test it out to make sure that our duration column is correct. Let's say we decrease this one by 1, so it become 11. Right, so that's correct. Okay, and this one we increase this by, I don't know, maybe 4 days. So this one become 8 days, right? So that's going to be 96. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so now we know that our column and the formula uh, is working. Okay, so the formula is right to calculate the number that we wanted. Now we just have to copy the start date, right? We put it here, right? And then you get the end date, right? And then we just have to copy down the formula, okay? Right. Oh, this one too. Yeah, we copy the whole, okay? So that's it, right? You know what? You can compare the, man, over here, does it have the duration number? You know what? Let's co let's copy the data from this table, okay? Because this table right here, it does have the duration column, so we can compare. Get this one, right? Right, and then we got the start date here, right? And then we have the end days here, right? End days goes here, this column, right? And then you have 6 2 because we put our formulas in the duration column to make sure that it does calculate the number correctly. Okay, so let's see if it's 6 3 4 15. Okay, I don't know. Maybe the number is actually always off by a digit, but that's okay, right? But you have an idea. 41, 42, 14, 56, 57, 2, 1. That's fine, right? Okay, so you know the logic is fine. This table right here does have the relation. And then that means that it has all the right column that you needed to generate this graph. Okay, now take a look at this one here, right? Basically, this is what we have. Voila. Hallelujah, right? I get excited, right? We're actually getting closer, to the real things, the tools that we have seen people, uh, you know, at the high level when they sort of like working on the big projects, right? Because remember that our calendar view is only work for, I don't know, let's see web development, not this one. Uh, where is that at? Okay, remember that this is our sort of like version of the timeline that we implemented. Okay, at that time we basically just have a different person, and then later on I adopt this sort of like calendar and I used it for my kind of like tasks, to do tasks, kind of like tours. So I feel like this is so cool. I can use this one for my tour, right? You know, and then we have, at that time we basically have a different person that in charge for different tasks, and then we later try to color code it for each different person we associate with a different color, right? So we implement this kind of stuff, right? And then later I feel like, hey, this is going to be a very nice productivity tool, a very nice task tracking tool. So I use that. I adopt this one as my template. So I use that and I feel like this is good. I love it, right? And then let's say that you want to, right? It has a different category, and later on, you can convert this one to your personal preference, to your personal need. Let's say that instead of like the name of the person, the name of the employees, the name of the manager that in charge of a specific task, you can replace that with the name of the course. Let's say that you're in school, or you probably sort of like going back to school, for I don't know, for like further education, taking some online courses like me. I enjoy taking some online courses. You just have to set aside some time committed to doing the work, the homework. And then I feel like this right here can can be the number of course that I'm taking, it's a different course I'm taking. And then the task. This can be a great task management template, okay? And then let's say that you have the statuses. So by doing whatever that we've been doing in the past. I mean, it's really help you to see, exactly where to go to customize and exactly how to do it. Okay. Except this one has its own limitation, has its drawing. It has only 5 weeks, right? At a time, you can only view 5 weeks at a time. You can go to, I don't know, maybe like 2 years from now, 3 years, but at any given time, you can only view 5 weeks at a time. So it has that kind of limitation as opposed to the Google graph, the stack bar chart. It basically going to sort of like take the zoom in, the scale automatically so that you can see everything at once. And you can see how one task related to the other one proportionally. Let's say that they take the zoom in, the scale automatically. Let's say you want to do this one this Christmas, right? Let's say around this Christmas, it's going to be, I don't know, the 20, right? And then you want to, for that week, before the new year, right? They started let's say open, right? And of course, you did not make any progress at all. You would say 0, right? Just if you make 50% progress, you say, that's 50, right? Ah, right? Or 75, see how the progress bar sort of like change, right? But you cannot see it because right now, currently, you don't see that. And you can only see 5 weeks at a time. So you know that it's actually in week 24, right? And it only show, I don't know, 5 weeks at a time. So if you put week 21, you can see the 20, see that? Let's say that you're not making any progress on it any at all. So it should be that. Okay. There you go. Okay. But it has its limitation as opposed to now this graph right here. This is the one that we just did. Okay. 5. So now you have this. And you can do, a further customization. Let's say that, oh, what happened to, ooh, okay. Uh, let's say that you want, what happened to this entry right here? Why they all started at the same duration, start of set day? You have to sort of like copy down the formula. Okay. How do I copy down the formula? There you go. Okay. Because you know what? This table right here, it has two columns that you have to calculate by using the formulas, which is the duration day and the start offset day. The duration day is the calculation between the difference between the start and end day, and the start offset day is going to be the difference between the start day of that specific task and the project start day, which is the in this case going to be a start day of the very first task, which is the project initiation. Okay. So now you have something that's really, really, really similar to what we have seen, before, except this one you'll be able to see, you know, let's say that all of them in once, right? Which is pretty cool. You can see how one task relate to each other proportionally, right? Because it does take scale, into consideration and it's scale automatically, right? Now you just have to now you can actually just do edit chart. Let's say that you want to, I don't know, maybe try to do the backend development. Okay, like this one right here, backend development. Try to do the backend development, right? Try to color that differently. Maybe you do with some orange or something. Backend development, add a data point, right? Backend development, right? And then try to do, I don't know, maybe green, right? That's just too bright. This one, that backend development, right? So you can do actually do this, or you can do the testing phase, right? Testing phase, let's say you add another data point. Testing phase gonna be, where's the testing phase? Make it, I don't know, maybe this one, right? So on and so forth. You can actually just give each one of these a different color, the same way that we did with this one right here, right? When you choose a different person, right? Right? When you do a different person, you have kind of like different color. And this is exactly what we do right here. Conditional formatting, right? Keyboard, right? When the color is blue, like that, you know, right? That's exactly what we did doing. When programming to have a different color for different person's name or different course. Okay, that's what you're doing here. Yep. Let's pick another one. The design phase, right? Let's say that you want to make this one, I don't know, maybe red or something. All right. Add another this design phase. Yeah. And then make it where is it at? Make this one. I don't know, maybe this. There you go. Okay. And then you can increase the design phase. Let's say that, you know what, I need to be more time than that. I need 1 more week or 2 more weeks to do this one. So that's going to be, let's say I'm going to give you, I don't know, maybe 2 more weeks, for 14 more days. So that's going to be 34 days, right? So let's see, right? So that is design phase. So you basically over here and design phase here. And then right now you give a bit more, right? You give So 14 days could it be like what is it? 926 or something? Oh, well, 34 days, right? Right? So that's going to give you a 34 days. Okay? So that is Google Sheet, Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, stack bar chart. Okay, so very, very powerful tools that you can actually incorporate, you combine with the stuff that you already been developing, been doing, and then you know what, it can give you somewhat like, you know, what people do, you know, at the large scale. Pretty cool, all right? And then you can do all kind of customization with this one, right? You can do all customization with Google Sheet. You have even less customization option compared to Microsoft Excel. So if you can do a lot of customization here with the Google Sheet, you know, let alone Microsoft Excel, it will provide you a lot of fancier option. Okay. Yeah, but you know what, to get started, if you don't have a budget, then of course Google Sheet will be a great place to start. Okay. So in order for you to generate this graph, remember that all you need to have is basically it's just at least for a column, right? You have the task, you have the start date, you have a start offset date duration. You don't need to have an end date because you know what? We use an end date to calculate the duration column, the value that goes into duration column. Okay. So all you need to do is just start, right? And you just highlight the range, you know, of the data set. Okay, and make sure when you start it out, do something simple, like something that has like four different tasks, four different phases, four different stages, and then make sure it works. And when you do that, you scale it up. You know, you go to this one right here to see whether or not it works, and it works, right? Right? It's all good. Okay, so that is the end of today. For this week data visualization, and I will be seeing you, you know, next time. I don't know what kind of graph that will be looking at it, but you know, I'm, you know, for sure I will pick the next interesting one. Okay, this one I feel like is a very powerful, you know, just one graph, and all you do is just, it's just a matter of prepare the data correctly, and then just sort of like click on the right button, and voila, you know, it's actually give you something that even more than what we've been doing for, I don't know, for like 3 4 months. We learned how to code, we learned how to do conditional formatting. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time, and I really, you know, grateful to have this opportunity to learn things together with you, because I feel like I have learned so much about the spreadsheet, the Google Sheet, you know, throughout, you know, this time that we, you know, learn things together. As I prepare this material, I learned stuff myself. I learned a little bit of coding, you know, a little more involved with the conditional formatting, with the spreadsheet that I did not get a chance to know, right? So it's good. All right, thank you so much for your time, and I will be looking forward to seeing you next time. Okay, week 7, and I will pick out, you know, the next interesting graph. Bye.